It's the Jake and Ben Show. 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 Oh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Jake and Ben Show. Before we start, Ben, there's like this weird hiss, like a fan or something coming through your end. Is that just the like? I hear. I don't know if your recording's picking up. It might be Skype. I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. Well, hold up.
Okay.
I'm going to do something here. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do something, and then you're going to give me an answer if you still hear it.
Okay. Oh, you thought it was your Xbox?
It's very professional. How's that?
I still hear it, but I'm I'm willing to believe that it's just Skype and like some
I'm going to
feedback
guess
or
so.
something.
So
All right.
the only thing I could have guessed was that was my Xbox, which I forgot to turn off, and it's off now.
Okay. Let's do this over again then.
Okay, let's do it over again.
Alrighty, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Jake and Ben Show. I'm Jake, and this is Ben.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk some Star Wars stuff. We're going to talk some AMC stuff. We're going to talk some Pokemon stuff. We're going to talk some Bohemian Rhapsody. We're going to talk some Overlord. Did I hit it all? Is that all we're going to talk about today?
Almost. You missed one more thing.
Oh, and Ben
has
has
a theory
yes.
that I've been working up about Creed.
Yes.
I really just want to say it. I just want to put it out there and just say it because it's been in my head for a couple weeks now. And I want to say it, but I'm going to leave that for the end.
Yes. I am excited to hear that. So, let's just jump into the Pokemon stuff, eh? The Detective Pikachu trailer.
Yes.
That's where we're starting, right?
Yes, Detective Pikachu.
All right. So
now.
before we get into it, I just got to know, Ben. Okay, I got to know. Are you a Pokemon fan in the slightest?
I am not. I did not care for it at all in my youth. Like, when I say that, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I just knew it was a thing.
Okay.
It wasn't my thing.
Okay.
I could never get into it. So when I heard about this movie, I was like, I don't really care, whatever. I know Pokemon Go was, huge. I'm not sure if it still is. I know people still play it. I just don't know if it's not as huge. Because that was a huge phenomenon.
Yeah, it was huge.
Where's it at now?
Huge. I think it's still up there. It's still making a shit ton of money, and people still play it. It's just not like the cultural zeitgeist anymore, But it's still for like Pokemon fans and people who like to walk. I think it's still pretty popular.
Okay,
and I think it's made a comeback because of the new Pokemon game that just came out. So people got back on the Pokemon Go train.
My favorite stories, which I guess they're sad in a sense, but when I hear stories of people walking off of cliffs for this Pokemon Go,
it's just natural selection.
Yeah. Well, so Pokemon, this Detective Pikachu movie, it's announced. I didn't really care for it, and then I hear Ryan Reynolds is attached. And I didn't know if it was an animated or what it is, and then it was said it's like a live action. It's a mix. So this trailer drops. I did not watch it right away. I was like, I don't care. It's not my thing. I'm not sure if you texted me and then I watched, or if I watched it and then you texted me. But when I watched it, I will say it just looks like a fun time. It looks like a sweet movie. It looks fun. That's how it landed with me. It doesn't it looks like a fun time. It looks adorable. What do you think of it?
Yeah. I guess some background. I'm not like the biggest Pokemon fan, but I love Pokemon. I played it as a kid. I still play it. Right after this podcast, I'm going to go play the new one, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I'm going to play that. Oh, I'm so excited. And, I still play Pokemon Go. I played Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Gold, and all that back in the day. So I have a lot of nostalgia attached to Pokemon. So watching this trailer, seeing all like the first generation Pokemon, it gets me all tingly inside. I like that. It's very nostalgic for me. And the Pokemon have a unique look in live action. Like they're all hairy, which I thought was a unique decision. Seeing Pikachu all fuzzy, I never kind of imagined him like that. But if you were to make him like skin, it might be weird. I get the direction. It's cute. It's fun. It's very kid-like, which is Pokemon anyways. I kind of echo your sentiments where it's like, yeah, it looks fun, it's cute, but I also have that layer of nostalgia, so I think I dig it a little more just for that reason. Ryan Reynolds' voice is quite distracting, though, if I'm being honest. He's doing kind of, it feels like the Deadpool shtick, which I get, that's kind of just who Ryan Reynolds is. But on a character like Pikachu, it's a very bizarre, pick. Um, I don't know how I feel about it. I have to see the movie. I'm sure after, 10, 15 minutes of the movie, you just kind of get used to it. But in the 2-minute trailer or whatever, I just see Ryan Reynolds, and that is not who I think of when I think of Pikachu. But that's generally how I feel about the trailer.
Okay, I'll quickly say something about that. When I watched the trailer, yes, Ryan Reynolds stands out, but I think because I don't have a connection to this, that's what I really liked about it. And I had the Deadpool feel a bit just because it's Ryan Reynolds' voice.
Yeah.
And for me, that kind of got me more into it. So
Okay,
for somebody that's not a fan,
yeah.
it got me into it. The one thing that when I watched the trailer and there's that kid in there, it's like, this guy looks awfully familiar and I don't remember what from. And I was talking about this trailer with someone and they mentioned this guy. I was like, yeah, I've seen him somewhere. Where's he from? And then they said he's from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I hated that kid in that movie. He was so
kid.
Annoying. And I hope he's not going to be yelling.
See, I didn't mind him in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Everyone hated him. I did not mind him at all. So
I could not stand his screaming. It was so annoying. But with that being said, I mean, he didn't look annoying. And here I just hope there's no screaming.
Yeah, I get that. Yep. I think that's probably all.
Yeah.
For the trailer, I'm excited for it. When does it come out? Early next year, right? Something like that.
I actually don't know. When does it come out? You want me to look this up?
I have it open in IMDb here. It should say on IMDb.
Okay.
Oh, May of next year. Okay.
May of next year. Okay.
It says UK
May
beside
of
it.
next year.
It says May with UK beside it. That's the only thing on IMDb. Very, very weird. But
well, at least we know it's coming out around May in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, I'm gonna move on to something that I'm gonna get more into, and it's Star Wars. We're gonna talk. I just say Star Wars because we're gonna cover a few things. What I'm gonna talk about first is, because we haven't talked about it, is this Cassian Andor series for Disney Plus. I'm just going to say that. I want to hear your initial thoughts because I haven't heard what you think about it.
Okay, Cassian Andor being the main character in Rogue One, correct?
Yes, one of the mains, yeah.
Played by, what's his name? Diego Luna. Yes. Wow,
yes.
Look, we're so in sync, Ben. All right,
hey.
I don't really know anything about this. I Googled it very briefly when we started talking about it before we started recording. It's a prequel to Rogue One, I believe. Well, obviously,
yeah, most definitely.
Spoilers, yes. Unless it's like some, it's a prequel to Rogue One. How do I feel about it? Is the question. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Rogue One, with the characters, including Diego Luna's character, We're not the highlight of that movie at all. So I don't know if I want to see more of them, unless, like, I get how this could further my appreciation for Rogue One because it's developing the character outside of that movie, so you have some background and then you rewatch Rogue One and you can appreciate it more. For that reason, it's kind of unique. I do like it that it's taking this small character, it's not Obi-Wan, it's not Boba Fett. It's just one of these characters from these spin-off movies and doing something with them. I think that's a bold choice. I don't mind that. I like that. I respect that decision. I'm not over the moon about it. It's unique. It's kind of fascinating, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Now, when I first heard about this, so I'm on Instagram, and I see this photo of Cassian Andor, Diego Luna. And I'm like, what's this? And I read the description, and it's saying there's going to be a new series on this Disney streaming service, and it's going to be this, spy series, and my first reaction was, oh, okay. And I wasn't sure how I felt. I was like, am I excited for this? Do I want this? Do I really care about this? And that's where I was at for maybe like an hour. And then I thought about it. And I was like, I do like Rogue One. I do like it a lot. But the story was pitched. It's about the Death Star. I mean, yeah, we've got these, band of rebels and how they come together, get these plans. But it's, to me, it was more than just this crew. And what was a weak point in there was, the crew's not really developed that much. For me, it was fine. And the most interesting things about Cassian, I don't even think are touched on the movie. To me, the most interesting thing about Cassian in the movie is when we first meet him. He shoots that guy. Spoiler alert. And in the movie, to me, that's the most interesting thing about him. I like him as a character, but in the movie, that's the most interesting thing for me. And something that wasn't even touched on the movie was that growing up as a kid, his family was a part of the Separatists. Now, if you don't know anything about that, the prequels, you had, there was a war in the prequels. I'm not sure if you are aware of this. And he was on the side of, Count Dooku, General Grievous. He was on that side. That's why he does not like Jedi. So, I mean, maybe they won't even touch that in the series, but there's possibilities. And the more I thought about it, the more I got excited for it. I think, I've totally come around. I think this is an awesome idea. I like the fact that, you're taking this barely B-list character and you're making a series about him. Gets me excited because then what else can we have for for other characters that are C-list, B-list? So I'm excited for it. I like the concept. We're gonna get a spy thriller type show. Give it to me. I want it. And I think there's interesting things to do with this guy. The question is, I mean, does it? So let's say we get this series and maybe it's 1 season, 2 seasons, 8 to 10 episodes, and you really dive into this character, and then you go to Rogue One. Are you going to feel like, oh man, I've learned so much about this guy, and now there's nothing in this movie? You're going to feel, I've learned so much about this guy that I'm good. I know him. I'm good to go.
I think it'll definitely increase your enjoyment of Rogue One. I don't think you're going to be like, oh, I know everything about this guy. I know this guy. I've seen this guy. Rogue One is pointless for his sake. I think it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be like, we learned so much about him, and that's one of the big flaws of Rogue One. So, I think it's going to be nothing but help Rogue One. Which is funny that we're still talking about Rogue One and it's still remaining relevant in, what year is it? 2018, almost 2019.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
We are in 2018.
We're still doing this.
Yes, yeah. So I'm excited for it. That's where I'm at now. There's no showrunner attached as of now. No directors attached as of now. All we know is that Diego Luna is coming back for the series on Disney Plus. That is the name for the streaming service.
Yes. Which, do you like that? You like that name?
Yeah, I do.
Me too.
I mean, it's nothing. It's not creative.
No, it's not.
But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. If you're gonna sell this thing, you got to sell it with the Disney name, and if you just add a plus to it, then it's very easy.
Yeah, agree completely.
All right. Boom. Now, I'm excited for this series, but not as much as I am for The Mandalorian. This one. Woo! I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Jon Favreau, the director.
Yes.
Give me more.
Yeah.
And what gets me more excited is that Pedro Pascal is confirmed for the lead. I've read other places that they're still negotiating, but to me, he's the lead. I don't see how that will. They're filming. Come on. I assume it's if they're negotiating and they've already been filming for almost a month now. And maybe he's not filming, but the show is filming. If it falls apart, I mean, I don't see any type of way that would happen. And plus, Pedro Pascal, he's not an A-list actor. He's, I would say he's around the B-list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And nothing, right, he's a great actor, but that's just where he's at now. And this will be his breakout role. This is what people will know him for. So I don't see how that will fall apart. So with that being said, this gets me excited because I think he's an awesome actor.
Yeah, we talked about this before, right?
We briefly talked about it because it was rumored
Right. Yeah.
that he would be the lead. And now he is. Gets me more excited. I think he's a great actor. I think of what he did in Game of Thrones,
Yep.
which he was awesome in there. And then, what happens, which that's impactful because of how great he is. So I'm excited to see him in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not over the moon about it. I don't think I have anything too unique or special to say about it, but I think it's a solid choice. He's a great actor. Love him in Game of Thrones. I'm pretty sure I briefly said all this before too when we talked about the rumor, but for it to be like 99% confirmed or whatever this is that we're seeing, it's confirmed. I trust you, and you're the fake news guy, and you're going all in saying it's confirmed. So
speaking of fake news, there's a casting rumor that I haven't seen it picked up by any type of source I go to.
Okay.
And this one really threw me. And like in a good way and just in a way I was scratching my head. There was a rumor that Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed, was cast for the show, but I haven't seen it from like anybody credible that picked it up. Now I won't go into certain set photos I have seen, but I mean they're out there if you want to see them. And it looks more like Danny Glover than Carl Weathers, but I mean maybe it's Carl Weathers. What got me so like, oh, Carl Weathers hasn't been in anything recently. I mean, the last thing I can think of that he was in was Arrested Development, but he hasn't been in any type of, anything big since The Predator? I haven't seen him in anything. Now, that being said, I love Carl Weathers. I would love to see him, but I was so like, whoa, Carl Weathers. I mean, I'm game for this, but whoa, I haven't seen him in a while. Which I love him as Apollo Creed. I love him in Predator. If he's in here, hey, I'll take it, but
you call BS?
To me, as of now, I call BS. I'm close to putting it in the fake news bank, but like, I'll just keep it in the rumors list right now. It's very close to fake news.
All right. It's in the rumors bank. It's not in the fake news bank yet.
Yeah, but it's close there. It's close there.
Okay.
Only because like this rumor's been out for like 5 days. I haven't seen anybody credible pick it up. There were set photos I had seen. Doesn't look like him, but then again, the pictures are very blurry, so it very well could be. But if it is, I'm happy to see him doing something big. Now this next one, Gina Carano. She is officially cast for The Mandalorian. I like her as a fighter. I think she's a terrible actress. I don't think I've seen her in anything where she had a good performance. She's very good with physicality. She was a fighter. So, when I first seen her cast, I was like, oh, she is not a good actress whatsoever. That's my first thought.
She's in Deadpool.
Right? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she is. She was also in Fast and Furious 6. I believe it was 6. And a couple other shows.
Huh.
So.
I think I've only ever seen her in Deadpool.
Okay, Okay, so you've only seen her in Deadpool. You hear she's cast. What do you make of this?
Honestly, with that sample size, I couldn't give a fair. I just wouldn't even know where to start. I think she's fine in Deadpool. She doesn't have a big role where it's really emotionally demanding, that kind of thing. So she does have that physicality, and she has that screen presence, which is useful in and of itself. So I think it just depends what her role is, how they use her, and how much she throws herself at this role. Because I don't watch fighting. I don't even know how she is as a fighter. I've only seen her in Deadpool, so I'm just only speaking from that. And
Okay, well, let me give you a little background. This is from what I hear. I don't know anything about this production, but from who I hear it, I believe it. So she was in a movie called Haywire, where she was the lead, and apparently all her lines were dubbed, and not just, it wasn't her doing ADR, it was dubbed by another actress.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, that's where I first went when I heard this, and then I was thinking more about it, and if she has a Captain Phasma type role, okay. If she has like a like even like a Boba Fett type role in the OT, where she doesn't say anything, but she's just like a presence. She can do that. And the thing is, where I go with this, I believe in, I believe in what they're doing. I don't think they've casted. I mean, so far, there's been, in some of these movies, you can point out some of the casting and be like, okay, that wasn't the strongest. But to me, for the most part, I think they've mostly hit home runs with casting in the new Star Wars, the new regime. So I believe in Favreau. I believe, I don't think they're going to, they know who she is. I don't think they're going to cast her for a big, emotional, like, some type of role where she needs to bring a lot of emotion to it. I think they know who they casted. I have faith, but I was very surprised when I seen she was casted for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have anything else done, but I do agree. I do trust Favreau and the crew behind it that, they're not stupid. They know what's going on.
Well, you know what? So I'm on Instagram. This is where all the breaking news is these days. HBO, their Game of Thrones, their page, they posted, a little teaser, but of all footage we've seen and just announcing, hey, Game of Thrones is coming in April. I kind of assumed that's where it was going to be. I'm not sure about you, but we got, the month. I'm really excited to see this final season. I'm charged up, especially here in, I think they did I think it was Entertainment Weekly who did a thing for season 8 of Game of Thrones, and I'm talking how they have this final battle that took 3 months to shoot, which to me, I'm like, whoa, the average movie takes about 3 months to shoot. Just this battle took 3 months to shoot. And then Peter Dinklage saying that this final battle is going to make Battle of the Bastards look like a theme park. Give it to me. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I signed up for Crave TV the other day because Game of Thrones is on it. And I'm going to rewatch Game of Thrones again for the 3rd time to be prepared for this new season, but holy shit, I am so excited. I actually thought it was going to be more in the summer, like August time, when it was going to come out. So when I heard it was April, I was charged up because that's sooner than I thought, and that's the best. That's early next year. Give it to me. I'm so excited. When I hear that it took 3 months to shoot, to me it sounds like there was an issue with something. Like,
okay, yeah. This final battle, it took, like, just the final battle alone took 3 months to shoot. And from what they're saying is that this is like going to be the biggest thing you will ever see.
Okay. See, like, I get that. I get they say that. And I do believe it. Making Battle of the Bastards look like a theme park, though, that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard. I do believe this is going to be the biggest, craziest thing we'll see in a while. I do believe it. But when I hear it took 3 months to shoot one battle, I just have to think there was an issue. Doesn't it just sound like they had to reshoot a bunch of shit or something went wrong? 3 months to shoot it. It just sounds like that. And I don't know. I'm just a pessimist. I don't know.
It sounds crazy. I'll give you that. But I just think of, like, Game of Thrones is like the biggest thing in pop culture in like the last 10 years with like the MCU. I would put Game of Thrones maybe above that. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy.
Okay, so this is like the biggest thing. This is their final season.
Yeah.
6 episodes.
And apparently they're like 2 hours each or something.
Exactly. With hearing that, they could be anywhere to 2 hours long each episode. 2 hour, like a 2 hour long episode.
So it's kind of like a regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also like a regular movie. 2 hours. That's like a movie runtime. And let's say this final battle, I'm curious. This is the final season. Are they going to do the traditional, have the big, the big juicy stuff happen the episode before the finale? Or are we just, because this is the end, we're going to the finale to do this? So, with that, this battle is going to be the end of Game of Thrones.
I don't know if I'm emotionally ready.
Exactly. Because just think, everybody's going to be there. You're going to have walkers there, and I assume we're going to have some dragons, and maybe some dragons are going to be going at each other.
Yes.
If you see in season 7.
Yes.
So
yes,
I am Woo!
I started
Man.
following Game of Thrones when it was on TV in season 4. So like I watched seasons 1 to 3 on DVD, prepare myself, then I watched season 4, 5, and 6, and 7. So for those 4 years, I was watching it on TV. And Game of Thrones has been in my life for 4 or 5 years. And when the final episode happens, and I know that the next year or the year after, I don't get to go back to HBO and watch it.
You don't.
I just
It's over.
It's
done.
Like, I haven't had a TV show really where that's happened to me. Usually, like Breaking Bad, I watched after the fact. The Walking Dead, I just kind of lost interest and stopped watching. I haven't had a show where I legitimately loved so much and then it just ends on me. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready, Ben. It's scary.
I always find final seasons just sad.
Yes.
Because no matter how good it is, it's the end.
Yes,
it's over.
exactly.
It's done.
Exactly.
So it's always, that feeling of like, there's nothing else after this.
I know.
And with that, I'm so glad that I jumped on this last year because I wasn't somebody who watched this while it was on air. I heard so much about it that I just got annoyed and I was like, fuck it, it's not that good. I'm not going to like this shit because everybody's saying it's the greatest thing. It's not going to be the greatest thing. And I watch it and hey, it's my favorite TV show.
It's the greatest thing.
Number one there. Yeah. To me, after I binge watched all of it and, got caught up to season 7, I said to one of my hardcore Game of Thrones fans, I was like, this shit on HBO is better than half the crap that comes out in theaters. Which when I say crap, half. I mean, yeah, exactly. To me, like this is the best stuff you can find in in the world of film television right now. That's where I'm at with this, and just I think they've done such a good job with character and building all this up. And the thing with TV shows that like it annoys me when, and we'll talk about The Walking Dead a little bit later, but like with The Walking Dead, not all the time you know what we're doing for this season or the series itself. For Breaking Bad, you know where the series is going. Obviously, there's seasons and things are going to, turn. But you ultimately know how this is going to end. With Game of Thrones, from the first episode, you know where we're going. It's just a matter of how do we get there, which is what I think is so great about the show. Mm-hmm. And man, wow, next year. And I'm sure we'll probably do some episode or, favorite things, or most anticipated for next year.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be crazy. Because just like the blockbusters alone, there's going to obviously be the, Oscar movies and fantastic movies, but we got Glass, Captain Marvel, Avengers. Like, just think of the time frame of April till like July. It's going to be crazy. Avengers, Game of Thrones. You got like Spider-Man. And then you have Episode 9.
Yes.
Episode 9 also this year.
Oh my god. The Avengers, Game of Thrones is like a 1-2 punch of people you love dying. Guarantee it.
Well, here's my question. So Avengers 4, it's scheduled to open up first week of May, like Avengers Infinity War was, but then like a couple weeks beforehand, they're like, you know what? We're going to pop it out a week earlier. IMAX, when they did some like earnings call, they listed Avengers 4 for late April. I assume we're probably going to get the same date.
Yeah.
When does Game of Thrones open? Because what I'm curious about, I don't think people are going to see Avengers 4 no matter what. But like, imagine if that opens up on the same weekend.
Ooh.
Whoa. Wow. Imagine if.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it will be the weekend, I assume, of when this movie comes out. Because even if we're early April, we're 6 weeks, there's going to be a cross. So, wow.
Yeah, it's not going to matter to me because I'm going to see Avengers on the Thursday and then,
Yeah.
Game of Thrones on the Sunday, I believe, is when it airs. So
yes, I'm just think of that time, though. You're going to see Avengers 4, and then you're going to see Game of Thrones, the final season. How awesome is that?
Crazy. That's awesome.
And speaking of, you're saying this is going to be, the deaths of, to quickly talk about, I'll just be quick about this. With Disney Plus, with all the shows you're hearing that might come, which Bob Iger confirmed, the Loki one with Tom Hiddleston, I think I've changed of what I think is going to happen with Avengers a little bit. I used to think everybody pre-snap was dead. Everybody post is alive. I think everybody that died in Avengers Infinity War, I think they're all alive. It's just Avengers 4 will be, how do we fix this and what are the consequences of us fixing this? Ultimately, I think that's going to be Tony or Cap, maybe both, with someone else.
Yeah. I think Ant-Man is actually gonna play into that into saving everyone and everything.
I think big time. Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
From what they did with Ant-Man and the Wasp, I don't see how he's not a key factor in how everything's
the best part about Ant-Man is setting up that Ant-Man is going to be a huge factor.
It really
in
is.
Which
it really
is.
I was thinking about that movie. I was looking at my Blu-ray collection, and I have most of the MCU movies, minus a few. And I noticed, hey, I don't have Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I was like, do I want to get that? Like, I liked it.
You should.
I did, but
just to be I'm kind of a completist, kind of. So, like, if you have all of them, but you don't have Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's like, come on. Poor Paul Rudd.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I like the movie.
No, you don't want to ever watch it again, kind of thing.
I'm kind of there. I'll watch it again when Avengers: Infinity War comes around. And don't get me wrong, I really like the movie. I think it's a fun time. It's just kind of you're coming after Infinity War, and the thing I remember of it the most is how it ties into Avengers 4, and not to. I'm thinking of the big picture.
Yeah,
I'm stuck there.
I get it.
All right, question. Game of Thrones, final season. Who bites it?
Oh my God. That's the $1 million question, eh? Okay.
Who gets the throne, right?
Who gets the throne?
This is the Game of Thrones.
If anyone.
Is there going to be a throne after this?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Here's something. I feel like this is worth mentioning. Game of Thrones season 7, I think, was the weakest Game of Thrones season. And I think why is that they're paying a lot of attention to the White Walkers and to the Night's King and whatnot, which I get it. That's kind of where this is all headed. That's where it started heading from the beginning. But as a villain, the Night's King is far less interesting, say, than Cersei or than Joffrey or anything like that. So what I hope this season, especially if there's going to be no throne after it, I hope the Night's King becomes a more interesting villain than he has been thus far in the show. I hope. I don't know how you're gonna do that. I don't know what to do, because kind of right now he's just like this force of evil, which I get. So I don't know if what you want to do is turn that shit up to 11 and have him kill Tyrion and Jon and whatever, and just like, I don't know what you have to do, but do something with this character where it makes him memorable and just more interesting than just a spooky face. I think that's what the biggest flaw of last season was, and one of the reasons why it's one of my least favorite seasons. But if you're gonna get rid of a throne, do that. But I don't know. I don't know what the play is. I don't know. Is there gonna be a throne? Who's gonna die? I have to assume a shit ton of them are dying. Even if one of them gets the throne, a shit ton are dying.
How does, from the way they end season 7, how does that not happen? People have gotta die.
Exactly.
With that there's a lot of them. There's a lot of White Walkers coming for him.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying, but I kind of disagree depending how season 8 plays out.
Okay.
I think this Night's King, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's been interesting in the fact that you have this, battle of the throne going on, and he's just there. And to start this off, I mean, you have that guy come like, yo, there's these fucking White Walkers. They're real. They're coming. And everybody's like, yo, that's fake news. You're crazy. You're nuts. I like that everybody's thinking this is nuts. And to go into my favorite episode of season 7 is when they all meet. I think that is some of the best
that's great.
Game of Thrones we've ever seen, when they all came together and meet.
Except it is a weird plan. That was a very bizarre plan that led them to meet. If I'm being honest,
it's bizarre, but it makes sense. If you're Jon Snow and like you've got an army, but you lost a lot of people, and people came together also. But compared to these walkers, you ain't got shit. So you got to look to everybody to help. And when you got the Khaleesi, and I mean, hey, I'm curious how that's going to play out, especially when they find out.
I don't know if they'll care. I'm not sure that they'll care that they're related.
You don't think so?
No, I just think the world assistant might be like, oh, what the fuck? And then I think what's really what's gonna be the big play there is that Daenerys is gonna realize she's not the rightful heir to the throne, and that's gonna cause tension between the two.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Is she gonna be like, you know what? I've come for this, and fuck you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they're gonna care that they boned and they're related.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. I am interested to see how that. I'm curious how fucking Peter Dinklage plays Tyrion, because I mean I think he's a little jealous. Peter Dinklage, I'm not sure if he slipped up or what, but I want to put this out there for discussion, but it's kind of pretty big spoiler.
That's all right. Let's spoil it. Okay. Spoil it. It's fine.
He was talking about how how would you end this, and he was saying like he had said like a death would be awesome to go out with. So I'm not sure if he just kind of had a slip up of like I'm dying, or just like I think the best way for my character to go is an honorable death.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's that.
With that, I thought the timing of it's weird because they were already filming when he had said this. But man, I'm going all over the place thinking of this final season of what can happen, because there's so much stuff that can happen. You have homeboy that left. Seriously, so what's up with her? Does she like what is the world? Because a lot of things got split up, especially with the wall coming down. To me, I think the whole season is that Night's King guy. I think. Okay. Let me backtrack. What I was originally going with, what I was gonna say was I kind of disagree with what you were saying. I think he was an interesting character that you're building him up, that he's just always there, and ultimately when you have that attack in like season 5, I like how they've presented him so far. Depends what they do in season 8 if he's a dud or not. I like how they've built him up. We need more now.
I do like the contrast between like this political turmoil and King's Landing or throughout the show, and then just like this mythical creature or whatever, this like.
Well, I also like that
on the wall. It's kind of that's a unique contrast. I like that.
And I like, speaking of that contrast, what I like about it is that everybody's so concerned about this throne when there's a threat out there that doesn't give a shit about this throne or anybody getting it.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the most interesting thing about that character. And hey, I mean, if you want to go into theories, because there was time travel in a sense, right? Because, Hodor, hold the door.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's Bran. Bran's the other Stark,
Bran's
right?
like a whole other beast. Yeah. Like, so they can do crazy things with him.
Well, exactly. I remember like there was always the theories and photos of like, this Night's King, his nose looks like Bran's nose. He kind of looked like the same guy.
Oh yeah, I remember all those theories.
Are we going to even play into that?
I would, because
then that makes him interesting.
Yes,
that makes him interesting than just some dude.
Yes. Yeah, I remember hearing about this back when season 7 aired. People had all these theories that Bran is the Night's King, and it's a very unique theory. And that would just we'd have to see how it played out. Time travel is always like a little wonky thing, but that would be fascinating for sure.
Because even if that's the case, then how the hell is that possible?
Yeah, exactly.
Which that's what I like about the mystical stuff in this show, because it's not the only thing that of like the mystical stuff in Game of Thrones that I was like, okay, I mean, I'll take it, but wasn't the best execution was the explanation of these walkers, of how they became walkers. I don't even remember the whole explanation, but there was like those fairies that stabbed some dude with a knife, and
they
then he
stabbed
turned
with
into,
they stabbed with dragon glass.
There you go.
Yes, that was like the first men or something they stabbed, and what were their names? Yes, I remember that. I like that stuff. I don't mind that stuff at all.
I like it, but to me, I think for Game of Thrones, what we're doing, this might have been the weakest stuff we've seen. But with that being said, I still think that every episode, I will say I will take over most things that come out in theaters. Not just a put down of what's coming out, but just that's how good Game of Thrones is.
Exactly.
And wow, I can't wait till we get the first trailer. We talk about this, because that's coming out. We've got what, 5 months until this airs?
Yeah, the trailer's got to be soon, I'd imagine. I remember the season 7 trailer came out probably around this time, like this much before. I remember it being like months before, I think I'm correct. Because I had to sit on that trailer for a while. But yeah, give me a trailer already.
One more thing, and then we can move on here.
Yeah.
They always talk about how they filmed multiple endings for like the previous seasons and how they're really going hard on this one to avoid leaks. Is that why maybe it took an extra month to shoot this battle?
Interesting. Maybe. That's very possible. Yeah.
Imagine working on something so big that, because just think of
you gotta waste your time doing shit that you're not going to use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're HBO, you're like, I'm going to give you so many millions to go film something that's just going to be nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's got to be a special.
That's
feeling.
shitty. But it's also going to be like, if you're at that point that you can spend that money, like you've made it. If you can just throw out money,
exactly,
throw it to the wind. Yeah. So
I'll mention in keeping Game of Thrones slightly. So we've got the date April. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Are you aware of Star Wars Celebration?
Yes.
Okay, so 2019 in Chicago, that's April also. A couple weeks ago, it was said that, I think it was also in this Entertainment Weekly, I believe it was Entertainment Weekly, their whole piece on Game of Thrones Season 8, Dan and Dave were saying, as soon as we're done with this, we're working on Star Wars. And saying how they talked to, Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, got pointers of how to, I think they said how to, kind of keep things secretive, which I find interesting because they were working on Game of Thrones, which they tried to keep a secret, but I mean, I feel like they did a good job, but some things got out there. Why I say this. Game of Thrones airs in April. Immediately when they're done, they're working on Star Wars. I assume they've started scripts. I've got to imagine. I assume they're showing up to Star Wars Celebration, and we're going to find out what this is. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I totally do assume that they've been working on scripts, like you said. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'd have to assume. Hasn't Star Wars Celebration, if I'm remembering correctly, hasn't it been kind of lame the past year or two, where it's been underwhelming news-wise? I just have this idea in my head that this is that true?
That is true.
Okay.
Okay, so Star Wars Celebration was like a thing before. It was just a thing the fans came together, celebrated Star Wars, and then we have the sale, and Lucasfilm kind of made it their thing where, like, it's still obviously for the fans, but they've kind of take charge of this. This is where they bring their movies, comics, sometimes games, everything related to Star Wars, they bring it here. So you would think. And 2015, you have the huge, like, Chewie We're Home, that's the teaser. And 2015 was a pretty good year. I think that was a good year.
Yeah.
Then we get to 2016. They have a Rogue One panel, and you have the guy who played Baze, who says, who gives the spoiler, but not so spoiler, that they all die.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Then there was no trailer. There was a trailer, but not for the public. And then they had, I believe it was it would have been 2016, when they had their, filmmaker panel, and then they brought out Alden Ehrenreich and said, hey, this is our new Han Solo, when the story already broke a couple days ago. There was supposed to be, maybe this was 2015 or 16, but Josh Trank was working on this Boba Fett film, and that was going to be announced, and then they canned that. So 2016 was like, it was okay. The biggest thing that came out of that was Rebels season 3 or 4. Maybe it was 3, because that's when they brought in Thrawn and everybody lost their minds. So with that being said, this was a big event, and the biggest thing that came out of it was an animated show. Not to talk shit on that, I'm a big fan of Rebels, but that's what 2016 was. 2017 comes around. It was an okay year. We had The Last Jedi trailer. That was awesome. I think even if you don't like the film, it was a fun experience. And you didn't have much in the news, anything else. We had thought, hey, we're going to get an announcement of something else. There wasn't. Solo happened, and then they skipped this year. They skipped 2018, and
oh, really?
Why I think 2019 is going to be huge is, I believe normally it's 3 days. Next year it's 5 days. Why I have to assume a lot's coming out here is because episode 9, we're definitely getting a trailer. Definitely. And I want to briefly talk about episode 9 after in a second. Just something, sitting in my room and I'm thinking of episode 9. Got me excited. And we have Disney Plus, so we know The Mandalorian's been shooting. Maybe we get something from there. I've got to assume so. Jon Favreau is definitely going to be there talking about this. We're getting, I believe we're getting that in 2019 also. Maybe you hear about Cassian Andor there. Maybe they just like, oh, these are the guys working on it. As of now, we know Dan and Dave are working on a series of movies that they're producing and writing.
Yeah.
That we know for sure.
Yeah.
We also know about Rian Johnson. We'll see. And we've got Clone Wars Season 7. I'm sure it's something like there's going to be a lot to talk about this year because of the streaming service. Because there's no movies after episode 9. There has to be something. The last thing movie-wise is that year in episode 9. I'm sure they're really going to want to focus on that, but they have to announce what's coming like in 2 years from then, which is probably Dan and Dave, maybe Rian Johnson. We'll see. So that is why I think we're getting something big here, because we haven't had many big announcements here, because there's nothing slated, and we have... Well, there is stuff slated with Dan and Dave, but not really
nothing
states.
like
maybe internally they have.
Really set in stone with
exactly.
dates and
we don't know what the thing is. So even if they just say, hey, we're working on these films and they're going to be set in the Old Republic, or maybe not even that, maybe it's something totally different, but just like talking about Game of Thrones, what gets me excited about these, movies is that, hey, I mean, we love Game of Thrones. We just talked about it and these guys are working on it. Gets me more excited than what I thought I was for the Dan and Dave series of movies.
Yeah, my enthusiasm really hasn't changed. I've been excited for it since we heard the news way back when. Just Game of Thrones guys are the best, and they're doing Star Wars, which is the best. That's just a unique and inspired pair. And
like I think of Battle of the Bastards, Jon Snow pulling out the sword. I just think of that, and I'm like, I want to see that in Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
How awesome would that be?
That'd be awesome.
And
That'd be awesome.
Like take out the the walkers and put in Sith.
I
How
see.
awesome
You're just
is
making
that?
like the 1-to-1 comparison. I like it.
I
like it.
And maybe that's like
it's probably a little unfair, but I like it.
It is. It's very unfair to these guys who are creative guys, but like that's in your wheelhouse, and you knocked out the park. Why you wouldn't want to bring that type of flavor into Star Wars, I don't know. Like I just hope, and it's very unfair for me to say this about the guys, but I hope they're not like, we just did Game of Thrones, so let's do something completely opposite with Star Wars. It's like,
I don't know.
You don't have to take all of that. Just take bits and pieces of what you did with Game of Thrones and just throw it in there.
Yeah.
Which it's unfair. I know that, but
I don't think they'll do a complete 180. I think it's still gonna be their flavor and their style.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up next? We're gonna.
Wow, we're probably going long, right?
Yeah, we are going long.
Oh Jesus Christ! Okay. Wow.
I'll keep my reviews tight, and we can keep this AMC stuff.
Yeah, I'll be very quick about this. I'll cut that. Let me cut that. It was just I was gonna mention Billy Lord was talking about. She filmed for 3 weeks on episode 9, just how the experience was magical. Some might say, of course, she's gonna say that, but she was out promoting something else. She didn't have to say it. It just got me excited. And the other day I was listening to a J.J. Abrams review on Howard Stern, 2013. He was in there promoting Star Trek, the second one, and it was announced about Star Wars, and he was just talking about it. And you know what I like about J.J. is that like he's just like he's just one of the guys. He's a dude. He's awesome. He's not an obnoxious filmmaker, but in the sense, I mean, he also has the arrogance of like, I'm gonna make something great, and I'm not a douchebag.
Yeah,
I love his personality.
Me too. I remember hearing him on Stern when he was promoting The Force Awakens.
Yes, and
it was solid. I'm not even a Stern fan. I like that episode. So
yeah, and I think JJ's awesome. It just got me more excited for this of what he can do, because I'm thinking. So with episode 7, I think if there's one constant, like, hey, it was very similar to A New Hope, which, yeah, it takes a lot of the beats from there, but I think JJ, he put in his own flavor, and ultimately that's what I love about The Force Awakens. With that, I'm sure he heard some of the criticisms and was like, what could I do differently? And with The Last Jedi doing different stuff, I've got to think JJ looks at that and is like, you know what? I'm going to do my thing with episode 9. I'm sure he's going to, throw in nods to previous Star Wars films like he did with episode 7, but I'm very excited to see what he has done with episode 9 and what he's doing. So I'm very excited for, like I mentioned, Star Wars Celebration, see the first bit of what he's done, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel, now that we're a little bit away from December, I'm starting to feel.
You know what? I got to tell you.
I'm missing Star Wars.
Me too. That's what I was just going to say. With the snow and the cold weather, it's got me thinking about this new Star Wars era, and we don't have it. It's just, it's not, there's nothing here. It's just a void, and it's sad. It just makes me think of when The Force Awakens came out in 2015, and it was snowing, and it was the best movie ever made. Oh my God, and it moved me. Yes. I want that feeling again, but look, there's nothing. What am I going to see to get that feeling? What am I going to see?
You're going to see Aquaman. You're going to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, no.
That's what you're going to see.
Nothing's going to satisfy that. Nothing.
Exactly. Which, like, I'm excited for Aquaman. I'm excited for that Spider-Man film, but it's not Star Wars.
Exactly.
Star Wars.
I think Aquaman.
I know Bob Iger already mentioned it, but, like, I mean, even Solo, if it just came out in December, like, come on.
Yeah.
That's over and
Solo
done with.
already breaks my heart just existing anyway. Solo's just...
Okay, I'm going to be very quick here in what I wanted to say, because I wanted to go on to a bigger thing, but we've gone a long time.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is, I don't think we're getting a Star Wars movie every year. We're having our gap in December, but we've had it every year. I think we're going to get a movie break. Why? I think that with Fox coming in, there's these Avatar movies. They're planted for December. I think we're getting Star Wars, Avatar, Star Wars, Avatar. That's even depending if the first Avatar is good. But why I say this is the whole concept of a Star Wars story, with them saying, yeah, that ain't going to be a thing anymore. I think, I look at the Cassian Andor series. The Star Wars story, I think, will be a series on Disney+. I really wanted an Obi-Wan movie. You know what? I don't want it now. I want an Obi-Wan series. This whole Disney streaming service, like, what opened my mind was hearing this Loki series, this Scarlet Witch series. And I was like, hey, whoa, we can do that? Give me that on Disney+.
It sounded like dubstep.
hey. That was my mind. What you heard there was my mind when this came out. I'm like, you know what? We don't need these movies. We could. You know what? I happen to like Solo, and I really wanted to see the what happened with the the Crimson Dawn. What happened with Kira? What happened with Maul? Give me that in a miniseries on Disney+. I like the concept of that, and because of that, I think we'll get one every other year.
Okay.
Movies wise. We'll save the big epics for the movie theater. That's where I'm at with that. Do you have any quick comment?
Nope.
No. Okay. Okay.
All right. Hold on.
Yes,
Let's just. We have to talk about a couple movies, Creed 2, and
Creed 2,
and this AMC stuff. However, we're going up to an hour shortly.
We are.
So, how do you want to approach this?
Okay, how I want to approach this, one of the AMC things, I think we can knock it out of the park within not even a minute. My Creed 2 theory, I would like maybe 3 minutes for that. Look at us doing some, programming here. With the Walking Dead, I kind of want about 5 minutes with that. So
Okay.
Where do you want to jump into next?
Let's go a Breaking Bad thing, Walking Dead thing, Creed thing.
Okay.
I'll review my movies in 3.5 minutes, and then
okay. All right, Breaking Bad, my second favorite series of all time. Then we have Better Call Saul, prequel to that on AMC. Also, I think that it's an amazing series as well. There is a report, Breaking Bad. There's going to be a movie. Little known about it, but it's supposed to follow Aaron Paul's Jesse after Breaking Bad.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was some of the stuff that was said. So Vince Gilligan, I believe, is the creator of Breaking Bad. He has been working on this script, and Bryan Cranston that day was on an interview and saying that, I haven't read the script, but kind of like implying, like, yeah, it's a thing. I haven't read the script, but I would love to do it. I would love to see Bryan Cranston back in that role. However way you do it,
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah.
This got me very excited. I like the concept. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm curious how it would work as a movie.
Yeah, like that show wraps up so perfectly. Even Jesse, where Jesse's character ends up I love it so much that do a movie about it. I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I want it. I'll definitely see it. And Vince Gilligan being there is awesome. I don't know. That's kind of where I am. It's like, do we need more? You don't have to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I also find it curious because where Better Call Saul is going, season 4 just ended a couple weeks ago, and where it will be going for season 5, I believe it's season 5. There's definitely a window open there, without giving spoilers, of seeing guys like Aaron Paul or Bryan Cranston back, because with Breaking Bad, it's the story, of Walter, and it's very like it happens so quick, and there's not a lot of room, wiggle room in there. With that being said, in that time there was so much going on with Saul Goodman that we only seen him when Walter needed him.
Right.
So you could have a Better Call Saul season set within the same time as Breaking Bad, and you can play with that because we don't know everything that Saul Goodman was doing then. So you have these opportunities for those characters to come back there, which excites me in itself. So do we need a movie seeing these characters again?
Yeah.
I believe in Vince Gilligan because what he did with Breaking Bad and what he has done with Better Call Saul. So he's got me there, but I do find it interesting that it's a movie. I mean, there's things you can do with it, where Jesse went, especially seeing his, I think it was like ex-girlfriend, what happens to her, and just everything that went down. There's some juicy stuff to pick out there.
Yeah.
There was an interview that Vince Gilligan did, I think it was after Breaking Bad wrapped, and he was asked, what do you think happened to Jesse's character? He said, I would like to think he got away, but the most likely scenario is that the cops, got his prints and will probably find him within a couple days. So I'm not sure if that's, where we would go with this, but I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Walking Dead, let's hear it.
Okay, Walking Dead, Rick Grimes' final episode.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just say, spoiler off the bat. You've probably heard about it because the story in itself is a spoiler. So I'm going there. Given the warning, here we go. So season 9 comes. They promote the season as Rick Grimes' final episodes. So we get to the final episode, and to me, it's one of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead in that it's different than, some of the, great episodes in that it takes Lucille and hits you over the head with, this is Rick Grimes' final episode. They're hitting you over the head with that, but in the best way possible. And again, they promote it as Rick Grimes' final episode, not watch Rick Grimes die this episode, which I heard certain people talk about this episode afterwards, and I don't think they watched it because they compared it to Glenn in season 6, what happens to him. It is nowhere close to there, and in that, there's 5 episodes after that you find out what happened to Glenn. This is not that whatsoever, and they don't even try to make you think that he's dead. What they do is, what I find interesting, especially for the show carrying on, I thought this episode was either going to make or break the show, and that if it's either just going to end it there, there's no interest in it, or they're going to do something that makes it interesting to go forward. I think they successfully have done that.
Good.
And I think they gave Rick Grimes the only exit he could ever have. You don't kill Rick Grimes. You can kill every other character but him. You just don't do it. And the way they handled it was perfectly.
They said they want to make movies with Rick, right?
Yes.
You heard that? Yeah.
So on The Talking Dead right after, I never watched The Talking Dead. Why do I care about that? But I was curious to see what happens here because of how it ends. Mm-hmm. And the former showrunner, I believe he announced, is that, hey, Rick Grimes, he's done on The Walking Dead, but his story isn't over, and there's going to be, a series of movies that are going to air on AMC, but they're going to have, the scale of feature films, and they're going to be these Walking Dead movies following what happens with Rick after what happens. And this got me so intrigued. It got me right back into it.
Yeah, that's
because
unique.
yeah, they have the opportunity to do something, different. This is Rick Grimes. His whole thing since we first meet him is finding his family. And in this episode, because I had mentioned, like, we've got flashbacks of John Bernthal, like something coming of John Bernthal and other characters. Why wouldn't we have Laurie or Carl? And then the showrunner was saying, like, if he found his family and what they do with these, characters, then he's found his family. He's just gonna, he'd want to die. He wouldn't want to continue to fight. And I totally agree with that, seeing how they play it off. And there's this scene towards the end that it's a gut-wrenching scene, and it's so emotional because when you see what happens, you're like, oh god damn it, that was shit. And it's very good, very good. And it happens to deal with
how has this season
Michonne.
Oh really, how has this season been overall?
So overall it's okay. So let me say, The Walking Dead, I think when it was at its best is when it dealt into the horror aspect of it, and then we went on to the whole man versus man, and it's not as scary. It's just it's war. So maybe that's bleak for some people. I happen to like what they did with Negan. Again, there's some, I think everybody likes Negan, just maybe people aren't a fan of the seasons. I happen to like it more than most. Where this season went is that it did a lot to build. To me, there was a mini series within this series. Is that with any series that has 16 episodes or longer, there's definitely a middle point where there's it's like 2 different seasons. But this does it in a good way of where it's like a mini series of Rick, and then we have the real season 9. It builds up where Rick's going, and what they do in the beginning stages, what he does, the act that he does, what that means to him and what means to the community is what builds that up. I'm trying to be vague here. Yeah. Too many spoilers. So it builds up his eventual exit. And now we're into the true season 9. It took a 6-year time jump. We have a 10-year-old Judith. And it's a whole new...
That's right, I heard about that.
Yes. And Carol looks like Laurie Strode from the new Halloween. She's got long hair.
Shit.
Looks like her. I like what they're doing. It's going more into the horror aspect again.
I'm curious to watch this show.
There's a character in there, Dan Fogel, I believe, this guy from Fantastic Beast. He's just such a... He's a good actor, but so goofy that sometimes took me out of moments. Just because it's him. It's unfair, but I don't know anything of the comics of Walking Dead, but they've introduced these... This characters called the Whisperers, I believe called the Whisperers. From what I thought, I didn't know anything about them. Just I vaguely heard about them, so I was like, and then I seen the preview. There's talking zombies. Apparently, it's not talking zombies exactly. It's these people that wear the skin of the dead, and that are really deranged, crazy people. Now, maybe the show will do a little something different, but the way the last episode ended, we're definitely going into the horror aspect again, which gets me excited. I think this season has done a lot to, let's say, change things that people didn't like, and I ultimately think if you're a Walking Dead fan, it's a new beginning.
All right, I might have to start watching again.
I would recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Rick.
Let's do it.
And
I'll do it.
What they do. And I really want to talk more about, what happens. And Andrew Lincoln, I didn't know anything about Andrew Lincoln. I looked up some interviews. I think he's a really cool guy, and I'm happy to see more of him. And he dropped a little nugget that he was talking with the showrunner in season 3 about how to possibly leave the show and what to do. Because, family lives in the UK, they film in Atlanta, and there's so many months in between. And if you do a movie, there's less time, so you spend more time with his family. And this has been they've been talking about this for a while of how to end him. And the big tidbit he dropped that in season 8, they filmed 3 scenes. One of him, what happens in season 9, and one of him dying, which I was like, oh, they filmed a scene of, Jesus, I'm glad they didn't do that. And interesting tidbits. I'm excited. And, there's 2 episodes left of this year, and then they go on their break. So I would recommend checking it out. And I think his His final episode is amazing. And on to my Creed 2 theory. I'll be quick with this. Remember, you will remember, maybe people listening won't, because it could be new. So Creed 2, I'd asked you a question, do you think Rocky's going to die? And I think you had said yes. I was saying I hope he doesn't. And for Creed, I didn't have many theories. I watched it. I wanted to experience it. With this, I was starting to think of, what could we do? Because we got Ivan Drago coming back. We got a son, Victor Drago. Victor and Adonis are going to fight. And what's going to happen? So there was a TV spot I had seen, and it showed a flashback of when Apollo dies in Rocky's arms, and the TV spot was fucking awesome. I can't wait for this movie. It opens up next week, and opens early because of Thanksgiving, so early in the week you'll be able to see this. So here's where I'm at. I don't think Rocky's dying. You know what I think? In Rocky 4, a big point in there is that Rocky didn't throw the towel, which is why Apollo is dead. If Rocky threw the towel, Apollo would be alive right now. There's a scene in the trailer where Adonis is like, wait, you don't think I can beat him? And Rocky's like, I've seen this happen before. Your dad died in my arms. There's definitely 2 fights in this movie between Adonis and Victor. I believe so. There looks like 2 fights in the trailer. And you see there's a character that had a small appearance in the first one, and I'll give you some background. So Apollo Creed's trainer. If you look in all the IMDb, if you look at the casting list, the guy never had a name, but he was a big character in the Rocky franchise, and I first seen his name on a toy box, and in the toy box, his name was Duke, and the actor's name is Tony Burton. So to not go into too much of an explanation, in Creed, there's a character that they call Tony Little Duke Burton. So they named this character after Tony Burton, who played Duke, and this character is the son of Duke. And he has the gym that has, Apollo on it. So his dad trained Apollo, and Adonis went to him to train him, and he was like, no. If you remember that scene in Creed. He's in a lot of what we see of Creed 2. So here's what I'm thinking. This is my theory. In the first fight, I think Rocky throws the towel, and because of that, Adonis leaves him and is training with this, Tony Little Duke Burton. I can't imagine Rocky. Apollo would be alive if he threw the towel. He's given the whole speech, like, this kid was, born in hate. I've seen it happen. Your dad died in my arms. I think Adonis is going to get the dog shit beat out of him like Clubber Lang did to Rocky in Rocky 3. I think Rocky's going to throw the towel. They're going to have some split, and that's going to be where Tony, Little Duke Burton, comes under the wing, and we're going to have our second fight. That is my Cliff Notes version of my theory. What do you think?
Oh my god. Okay. There is a lot of stuff like that references other Rocky movies. I was trying my best to keep up. This is an embarrassing question. But,
okay.
What exactly does throw the towel mean? Like,
okay.
Give up?
So yeah, like for boxing, there's many ways a fight can end. Just a decision, knockout, technical knockout where the ref stops the fight, or you could have your corner throw the towel and say like, yo, it's over. It's over. The fight, we're calling the fight off.
So you lose when you do that. That's just like a giving up thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's, either you can just say I'm done fighting. Okay. That's happened before, or your corner will just throw the towel or stop the fight because they think you got nothing left in you.
Okay.
So that would be throwing the towel.
Okay. And explain this Duke character one more time.
Okay, so Duke in the original Rocky, like in the Rocky franchise, he was Apollo Creed's trainer. And later on, he also helped train Rocky, and there was, a little family between Apollo, Rocky, and this Duke guy. And in the fight with Ivan Drago, Duke's saying to Rocky, throw the towel, throw the damn towel to stop the fight. And Rocky, because Apollo's like, no, just he's giving, Rocky's like, we got to stop this. And Apollo's like, just let me, go out the way I want to go out. So he doesn't throw the towel. This new character is the son of Duke.
Okay.
So that is the connection where Adonis is the son of Apollo. This character is the son of Duke.
Okay. You sound like you know what you're talking about. You throw this big theory at me with these connections and these parallels that I gotta believe. You gotta be right in a way. If I were to just listen to this theory, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's how it's gonna go. That's how it's gonna play out.
I am
Because
more attached to this theory than any Star Wars
yes,
theory I've
I
ever
can
had.
tell. I can tell this is a big theory for you, and it's actually overwhelming for me. Um, but I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna say you're right, and I'm just gonna be in your camp because I'm gonna be rooting for you that this is correct.
Part of why I'm attached to this theory is I don't want to see Rocky die, but
Right,
also
right.
because to me it makes the most sense.
Yeah,
This movie is going to be big in itself because they're hitting a lot of points. So I don't see how it would make, with everything going on, I don't see how you can give the proper time for Rocky to die. And I don't think this is, I've heard people compare it to Mickey. I don't see like what's going to happen. If this happens, I think I might get up and leave. If what happens in the first fight between Adonis and Victor, so if I could pull the Mickey, I'm gonna get up and walk, because in there, the first fight with Clubber Lang in Rocky 3, Clubber Lang, he's nuts, and he got into like a shoving match with Mickey, and then he ends up dying, he has a heart attack or something, and he dies. If there's a fight between the two camps and like Ivan Drago punches Rocky and he dies, I'm getting up and leaving.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I have to believe that's not how it's gonna happen.
It better not, because I'm getting up and leaving. Because that will. I just don't see how there's enough time to cram in Rocky's death, especially with how they ended Creed. I thought it was he's good. I mean, he could always go back into remission, but I mean, I think he's good. One last thing, and then you can give your reviews and I'll shut up.
And then I gotta go play Pokemon.
Yeah, I loved Creed the movie, but one thing that kind of stood out to me is like I like it because I love the connection between Adonis and Rocky, but something that stood out was. And okay, hold your hat for this one because there's another Rocky reference coming in.
Okay,
Rocky Balboa, the movie. Milo Ventimiglia, I believe his name is. He's big now because of This Is Us. He was in Rocky Balboa and he played Rocky's son. The movie goes far and beyond to show how they have the strained relationship and how they come back together, and ultimately they come back together. What stood out to me in Creed. And I understand why, but what stood out to me, just you're putting it in the universe, is that Rocky, he has cancer, and he's saying like, everybody's dead, and just fucking what do I got to fight for? And Adonis is like, yo, but there's me. Where's his son in all of this? Because wouldn't you think like he'd tell his son, or I want to know where he's at in this. So I don't think Milo's gonna make an appearance in Creed 2 because I think we would have heard of it, but I just want to see him referenced here somehow. Small little side note, but
yeah, I didn't even know he had a son.
Something I thought. Yes, yeah, Rocky's got a son.
Huh? Yeah, that is weird. Why would you not mention that in the first one? It would be bizarre to then mention it in the second. I don't know. I didn't know.
It was always odd to me in Creed that like if you didn't know any of the Rocky films, it makes sense and for what they're doing with their relationship, but for it being overall in this Rocky universe, I was kind of like, huh. That was the one thing in Creed where I was like, okay.
I could see how that would be puzzling because, me not knowing any of the Rocky movies, I never questioned that. That's how it went.
I really want you to watch Rocky 4 before.
Okay.
See, I was going to say, you got to watch Rocky 4 before seeing Creed 2. There's a chance you might not like Rocky 4 because film is subjective, and I want you to see Creed 2 with the anticipation of you liking Creed. Once you see Creed 2, you got to watch Rocky 4.
Okay. I want to watch them all. My dad's trying to get me to watch them all too, so I'm going to watch them all.
You have to. You could skip Rocky 5, but I mean, there might be a part of you that's like, hey, this is so bad that it's good.
Yeah, I'll watch it for that.
Yeah, so.
Alrighty.
With that being said, next week, I will know if my theory is true.
Exciting times.
When Creed 2 comes out.
Exciting times.
And now, you've seen Bohemian Rhapsody and Overlord. I haven't had a chance to see them. I want to hear what you thought of them.
Okay, well, I'll keep it brief because we're over an hour. I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and I saw Overlord. Yep. I'll do Bohemian Rhapsody first. I'll just be brief about it. If you're a Queen fan, if you're a fan of their music, you will dig this movie. The highlights of this movie are definitely the music, all the concert and performing sequences, and whenever you hear Queen's music, that is the best part about it. And Rami or Malik, R. Malik, is excellent as Freddie Mercury. He definitely steals the show. If I were to, say some negatives about it, it does feel very tame. Like it's very family friendly kind of thing where it's like this man had a lifestyle that was way more
Not family
dirty
friendly.
than this movie. Like there's more drugs, there's more sex.
I heard a story,
Okay.
not to cut you off there.
Go
I heard
ahead,
a story of Freddie Mercury that when he would have parties, he would have midgets with cocaine on their heads. Yeah, it was. I thought that was a funny story of Freddie Mercury.
That's funny.
He'd throw parties, have midgets, and have cocaine on their heads for
That's not in the movie. There are parties he throws in the
Wow.
movie, but there's no midgets.
So no
and
midgets
there's
with
barely
cocaine?
any cocaine. I think you see cocaine once, just like on a table, and it's like
Okay.
just like residue. The movie, yeah, for the most part, is like it doesn't show Freddie Mercury maybe as like maybe it's just like it's very clean. That's what it is. It's very clean and like it's totally enjoyable. I would recommend seeing it. It's a good movie. Like it's a good movie. It's like it's a 7 out of 10. It's just it had potential to be amazing, and they just kind of skimmed the surface, which is fine. If you dig Queen, you'll probably dig the movie. I know like factually, there's a lot of things that are off about it. So maybe if you're really into the history of Queen, that might bother you, but I'm not, so it doesn't bother me too much. But I dig their music, so I dug this movie. That's really what it comes down to.
Okay. I'll quickly say a little piece here. I haven't seen it, so with that being said, what I say could very well change when I see it. But with today's time, we put these expectations of what we want to see in a movie,
Right.
and that's what it is. And when it's not, we're like, oh well, what the fuck? Like First Man. In my head, I'm thinking, so we're gonna have the space race, to the moon, and really, it's in my face that this is about fucking Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
They put it in your face that this is what it's about, but I was too, arrogant, thinking that this was gonna be the space, race that. Then I'm like, okay, I like the movie, but I was missing this, but it was never that. They never put it out as that movie. It was the biopic of Neil Armstrong. So for that, it's kind of on me. And with this Bohemian Rhapsody, like I remember hearing Sacha Baron Cohen talk on the Howard Stern show of what he wanted to do with it. And yeah, to me, does that sound more interesting? Yeah, it definitely does. Because, it's a character piece. You can dive into it.
Yeah, that would have been, that would have been.
There's potential there. I
epic.
mean, everybody, you can't say Oscar right away, but like the story itself has like, Oscar potential. That's what I really wanted to see.
Yeah, you don't really get that, yeah.
But we don't get that. And was this movie ever trying to do that? I don't think, and I've heard that it was.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's made money. I know audiences have enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
so-
It's super digestible, and it's a good time, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's, are you planning on seeing Fantastic Beasts too?
I guess so, but I hear it's subpar.
Yeah, I haven't seen many good reviews.
Yeah, I'll probably see it.
It did good on the Thursday night preview. It made 9.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna make
9 million.
I'm sure it's gonna make
First one.
decent money.
Yeah, so probably talk about that sometime.
Overlord.
Now, Overlord.
Yeah.
I really want to see this movie. Haven't had a chance.
Overlord is Overlord's really good. I put Overlord above Bohemian Rhapsody. If you're gonna decide which one you want to see, I'd probably see Overlord. It's just like this fun kind of B movie type thing where it's like, I call it a B movie, but I also hesitate to do so because it's a strong war movie for the most part, and a lot of these supernatural, or I guess they're not even supernatural, these like zombie elements to it are kind of grounded in reality, and it makes it's unique in that sense. Because if you know anything about World War II and like the experiments that the Nazis did and stuff like that, it plays on that a lot. But it works as kind of this zombie horror gore fest, like body horror type thing, and it works as this low scale kind of war movie about like a simple mission, and they blend really well. And it's not too scary. I saw it with my girlfriend and friend, both who don't like horror movies, and they enjoyed it, and they were not scared. So if you're not a huge horror fan, you'll dig it. The war movie elements work great. The whole cast, they have like some characters here and there, like near the beginning that are kind of flat and pointless, but there's a couple characters that really stick out, and I think that's what this movie really needs. It's got a really good antagonist, and yeah, I'd recommend seeing it.
I am looking forward to seeing this. Been busy. I'm going to be even more busy next week in the next couple weeks, but I'm going to find a time to see this movie. I think the action looks awesome from, the war part of it and the zombie part. A couple of months ago, I said to you, I am so over zombies, and man, have I fucking made a change on that. I'm back into zombies.
Really?
I am.
They're
back
not
into
like
zombies.
it's not like zombies in the sense that there's a million of them and they're in hordes. It's more like just like people who are avoiding death and just like they're mentally like completely unhinged. And there's a few of them, and that's kind of it. It's like it's nice. It's very small scale zombies and very grounded zombies. To
me, that also sounds like a different type of zombies. Like I think of The Last of Us, which were zombies but did it in such a different way, which felt fresh. And from what you're saying here, I like zombies but also present it in new ways.
Yeah, it is like that. It's like that for sure. And I was thinking, being a Bad Robot film, there was going to be like this mystery box element to it, like this whole things would be ambiguous and it'd be this like really this very heady thinky movie, but it's not like that at all, really. It's not brilliant, it's not like a thinker. It's just like it's a solid B-A movie. I don't know, it's a solid B movie hybrid thing. I would recommend seeing it.
One last thing I want to end with, to bring it back around to The Walking Dead. One more thing to maybe you'll like this. The new Judith is young Rey from The Force Awakens.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
And with child actors, I mean, I feel like a lot of the times it can be really just bad. And there are some definitely kid moments that she shows, but there is this one scene with her and Michonne it is so good. That's why you should, if you're not going to watch anything, watch Rick's final episode and the episode after, just because she has such a fantastic scene with
all right,
Michonne.
Unique. That was a unique little segue to something we talked about before. I didn't get the connection, but it was beautiful, and you did great.
Hey.
All right, let's wrap it up there.
All right,
we're a little long, and
we've went long.
Pokemon's waiting for me in the living room, so I gotta.
There you go.
Gotta catch them all.
Did you get it this morning?
Yeah, while we were recording, Mac, my girlfriend, went out. You know her, but people who listened went out and got it. Okay. So she has it here now. It's in the living room, ready to go.
Are you excited?
I'm excited.
Jump off your seat?
I gotta catch them all. That's what I gotta do.
Is that for the Switch?
Yeah, it's for the Switch.
Okay. When did you get the Switch?
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas. Okay.
I didn't get it for Christmas. I bought it just shortly after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it
Fun
waiting
time.
for a Pokemon game because I knew Pokemon was going to stop coming out on the DS, which is what I've been playing Pokemon on for the past couple years or whatever. And I knew they're done making it for the DS, so I got to get a Switch. And then Pokemon's going to come. I'm also a fan of like a Mario Party, which just came out. That's sick on the Switch. And Smash. Smash comes out soon. But yeah, that's my jam. So I'm going to go play the shit out of that.
There you go.
Alrighty.
Let's
Let's end it there.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's jump. Right. I'm gonna shut up.
Rate us, follow us, do all that jazz. Yes. We'll tell you more specifics next episode. This is long. This is long. We gotta go. We learned a bunch of things today. Yep. All right.
We learned a lot. We had a big conversation.
I gotta watch The Walking Dead. That's something I took away from this. I want to watch. I'm gonna get caught up. All right.
Hey.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.